XRP is going to move fast and aggressively when it happens. I don't know when that date is, but I know, and I'm willing to put myself out there, that when it moves, it's going to move fast and aggressively. In today's video, I'm going to show you a couple clips from probably one of the best interviews I have seen since I've been investing in XRP. I've been a long-term holder for a very, very, very long time. It's been life-changing for my family, and it's my #1 investment, personally and for our company treasury. And I will stand on that. XRP will be my #1 holding always. Now, I've been very open and transparent with you what my exact investments are in the back end of every video. I break down exactly what I'm doing. But in today's video, I'm going to show you 3 different clips from probably one of the best interviews. So if you're bearish right now, if you're starting to lose faith, I want you to watch these clips. And then I'm going to put the actual link to the interview. And I want you to watch the whole interview and watch it over and over and over again. And I'm willing to put myself out there that I believe over the next 10 years, Ripple and XRP will be one of the most disruptive technologies and companies in our financial era. We will never have an opportunity like this. Our kids won't, and our grandkids, and maybe their grandkids won't have an opportunity to be part of one of the biggest economic shifts in our living history. But you got to be willing to watch paint dry. You got to be willing to be patient for a long enough period of time. Get out of the price predictions, get out of the hopium, build a plan, and stick to it. So let's dive right in. Super, super bullish about this. I want you to watch all the way through. And if you're new to my channel, on the back end, I share with you exactly what I'm doing. All right, so check this out. So the first thing I want to show you is a tweet that was put out by Chad Staingrabber. It says, if you believe in price before law, the way XRP historically moves is fast and aggressively. Remember when Trump got elected? Boom, it shoots up. Then the next step up could be just around the corner. So this was posted by Chart Nerd. It said, XRP, the Clarity Act is set to pass January 2026. The bill aims to define how digital assets like XRP are classified under the U.S. law. The legal clarity could reduce long-standing uncertainty that has weighed on XRP's price and adoption. Seamless integration. What I'm here to tell you, coming from banking and understand banking at a deep level, okay? XRP is one of the most disruptive technologies for financial services. They are going to leave a dent in the universe. But let the leaders do the talking here. This was an interview by Talking Tokens podcast. I will put the interview, the full interview, down in the description of my video down below. Okay. But you have Matt Hogan, who is the chief investment officer for Bitwise, David Schwartz, the CTO for Ripple, and Stephen McGlurg, CEO of Canary Capital. Okay. We're going to watch 3 different clips. This is unbelievable. I mean, probably the favorite interview that I've ever listened to. It is so clear, it's so concise, and it helps you understand how dramatically the shift XRP is going to make. Check this out.
We love what Canary does, and we market to the financial advisor audience. So maybe that's, if you think of Steve on those polls, talking to retail, talking to deep institutional, Bitwise is maybe in the middle, talking to financial advisors.
Okay, so they're speaking to financial advisors.
And their XRP appeals for very simple reasons. Look, it's one of the Mount Rushmore assets in crypto, right? It's up there.
That's a key factor, the Mount Rushmore. So if you're a Warren Buffett style investor, okay, you're going to pick good companies at a fair price. I've told you guys how this game works. You have the big 3 in auto, you have the big 3 in .com, you're going to have the big 3 in crypto, you're going to have the big 4, right? You have Bitcoin, XRP, Solana, Ethereum. If you stick in those categories up in the top 10, you're probably going to do pretty well.
It's one of the big ones, has this tremendous long track record. And there are really 2 things that I found has appealed to our audience. One is that they're confident it's not going away.
There you go. His audience is financial advisors. They're confident it's not going away. So that might be a winner.
I know that sounds too simple, but a lot of financial advisors look at crypto and wonder, are these things for real? Will they persist? Will they be here into the future? And XRP has this enormous track record and this enormous background that gives people confidence it will be there in the future. And then towards what Steve said, it fits into real world applications that they can understand. right? They understand sort of the stablecoin space. They understand the cross-currency and liquidity space. They understand and appreciate news like Ripple getting a bank charter and what that could mean for the XRP community. So they'll see it. And because it's such a simple case and because it's so real world, I think it appeals to people who don't make crypto their full-time thing. And I think that's really important. That's one of the reasons we've seen consistent flows despite the crypto market being down. The ETF thing that I would add, which I think is really interesting and speaks to something really special in the XRP community, is that while Steve and I just gave this good story on why Bitwise and Canary are both seeing flows, it's very atypical in the ETF world to have multiple providers doing well from an ETF perspective. And I think what that tells you is that almost uniquely in crypto, XRP really hits and appeals to multiple different communities, right? Often it is just one community that drives ETFs out of the gate, but XRP, because it's been around, because people know it, really already has sort of fans and or people who are open to it in these different categories, maybe faster than other assets. And I think that's why we've seen this kind of dual success.
Okay. You got to watch this whole interview, guys. I'm going to show you these beautiful clips. Okay. So that's bullish as hell. His target audience is financial advisors. They understand it. I understand it. I came from banking, hence why it's my #1 holding by a long shot personally and professionally. Kind of give you my aspects. If you look at my portfolio in crypto, I don't want to get the numbers wrong, but it's pretty close to like 43% XRP. I think we're around 40 Bitcoin, and then it starts to drop off from there. And I can give you the guys the exact numbers in one of my videos here. But this is the next one I want you guys to listen to. Again, I'm going to put the full interview down below so you can watch the whole thing.
There's been a lot of talk about the 4-year cycle, and I know Matt and I have different opinions of the.
This one I'm really excited about because I've said this on my videos that I believe XRP is going to decouple probably a little bit from the crypto cycle, and I believe it's going to happen 2026 to 2030 because of its utility.
4-year cycle of Bitcoin, but I'm in the camp of the 4-year cycle is still in effect. Mining activity still very much drives price, even though it's becoming more and more muted. And every 4 years it will become more muted. But my belief is that Bitcoin peaked in October, and it's already going into its bear cycle. Altcoins typically follow Bitcoin, but there are a handful of assets that I do believe will diverge in this manner. And just watching XRP perform as everything's going straight down, and we continue to get inflows every day and continue to hold up, I believe that it could look like another peak in XRP in 2026 when most of other crypto assets are going to be down. And it really is the adoption curve here. What we're really seeing and understanding is the fact that there's so many advancements being made on the XRP ledger, including the stable coin that Ripple launched, which I think is really fascinating. It's one of the fastest, cheapest assets out there. And I hope David walks us through some of that when he speaks. But there's so many things being built, and so much of the Wall Street, when I say Wall Street, I mean, global capital markets, really understand what's being built there. That demand is being driven into the ETFs. And again, it was a fantastic launch. I've really never seen anything like it. Anybody who's ever launched an ETF before knows that if you can get to $5 million in AUM by the end of the first year, then you're rocking it. So hitting crossing 300 million for us in the first
300
I think it was the first week, was fantastic. And
okay, so you got financial advisors bullish as hell on it. They understand it. The biggest ETF launch, okay, it's growing dramatically. The utility for financial institutions is unbelievable. And we'll leave you with David Schwartz. And then again, I'll attach the video down below to give respect to this channel. And it's just such a phenomenal interview. So, I mean, I'm even more bullish, guys. I buy XRP and Bitcoin every single day. I'm actually going to start stacking more XRP. I am. I'm going to start buying more every single week.
Financial activity is getting the benefit. they're not just using the ledger as a database where they could use any database to hold who holds their assets. They're actually using it as financial infrastructure to allow these assets to be able to move and settle. And I think that's really a demonstration of the ledger's fit for purpose. I think also retail growth is interesting too. I think we're on the cusp because,
Listen,
as I was saying before, we can't really provide today exactly the features that most retail users need. So we're capturing the users who really like the technology and who have people who want to gamble essentially and try these high risk trades. But obviously, that's not how we're going to take over the world. We're going to take over the world with solid financial products that.
that's not how we're going to take over the world. Remember the video where the guy said we want to leave a dent in the universe? I truly believe they're going to be one of the largest financial institutions in the world. In my soul, I believe this.
Solve real world use cases. And we are actually starting to see that now enabled by things like stable coins and tokenized real world assets that let us handle these use cases like payments and like reasonable investments, tokenized money market funds and treasuries. We've actually seen more than 500,000 new wallets created by retail users through applications like Salmon. And so we're starting to see that sort of institutional activity driving retail adoption, which I think is going to be over the next year or two. I think that's going to be the dominant theme.
Matt, Stephen, how should institutional investors?
Take a deep breath, everybody. I know it doesn't feel good, especially so I want to talk to the people who just got into crypto. Those of us who got in 2020 were way up in our portfolio, right? So it's been a bumpy 2025. Since Trump dropped tariffs, I know it's been a little scary. Then we went for 2025, the big collapse. I told you guys there was going to be a black swan. Problem, reaction, solution. First they resist it, then they sue it, then they regulate. Institutions are coming in, guys. It's a whole different ball game. But there's going to be a moment in time where people who bought XRP at $3.40, people who bought it at $5, $10 are going to be absolute legends, just like the people who bought Bitcoin at $3, just like the people who bought Bitcoin at $3,000, just like the people like me that started buying Bitcoin at $25,000 that people called me an idiot because I was buying at an all-time high. Guys, you have to zoom out. Warren Buffett style investing. So I created Capital DR, cash flow, into assets that appreciate over time, in the asset category being patient on it long enough to compound. When those assets appreciate, I put it into protection. Okay, from protection, I use leverage. When the markets go absolutely red, I borrow at low interest to crush inflation. Your job is to beat inflation. Capital DR is an inflation crushing program. You can put any asset into it. And then L is leverage. And then DR is de-risk. De-risk because everything is just a cycle. We're about to go through one of the biggest economic cycles that you've ever seen. You're going to see Reaganomics, Reagan, on steroids with Trump. He's going to lower interest rates and print more money than you've ever seen. And here's what's going to happen by 2029. Mark this down, save this video. The next president is going to run on high inflation. The middle class is going to move down to the working poor. The rich are going to get really, 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 really rich. Trillionaire is going to be the new billionaire. Billionaire is going to be the new multimillionaire. And being a millionaire is nothing. It's not that things are getting more expensive. It's that your dollar is becoming worth less. We are transitioning into an even playing field monetarily. Okay. It's all going to be operating on a stable coin. You are not even going to know that you're operating on blockchain, DLT, and cryptocurrency. You're just going to be transacting with your Visa debit card, your MasterCard, and you're going to be transacting and every bank's going to have a stable coin. Okay. So your job is not to follow what I do. Your job is to study what feels good to you. Okay. And to understand that cash is trash. It's going to become worth less. So your income is someone else's debt. So when you get paid income, the first thing you should do is invest. You should not spend and then invest what's left over. You should invest and then spend what's left over. Okay. So when you invest, one thing you should create is cash flow. That could be through cash generating dividends. It could be cash generating businesses. It could be a side hustle. Okay. I love cash generating dividends. It's passive. It's Warren Buffett style. There's high risk, there's medium risk, there's low risk. The higher the risk, the higher the NAV erosion, net asset value erosion. But I de-risk into assets that have fixed supply. How do I de-risk? I pull the cash into investments like XRP, Bitcoin, Solana, WLFI, HBAR, VeChain. Those are some of my top. XLM, stocks like ABTC, XXI. I'll always tell you guys what my top ones are. My top 2 stocks are ABTC, XXI. All my other stocks are dividend stocks in the high risk environment, which I de-risk back into Bitcoin and XRP every single week. Okay. What I do is I use my own app, Merlin, the smartest way to track your crypto. This is an interface. Okay. You can download it 30 days for free. You can try it before you buy it. Keeps my crypto safe. This is an interface. I can see this is our demo account. You can see all your cryptos in one place, all your exchanges in one place. Someone hacks Merlin, they don't hack your crypto. Okay. So it keeps you safe. So you can travel around, you can see your daily gains, your daily losses, and then you can set up a profit taking plan. Okay. Say you're exiting XLM. You go here, you set up targets. You can do a 50-50, an 80-30, and then we help you understand how to create exit targets, right? We exit on the way up because the problem is you're not going to catch the top. So we ladder out on the way up. Okay. We pull profits and we feed the ecosystem. I put my profits into cash value life insurance. Once they're max funded, anything left, I put it in a stable coin. 10% that goes into cash generating dividends. And then when the market's red, boom, I go back in and I buy the fear, and we repeat the process, just trying to beat inflation. So if you're interested in downloading Merlin, it's 30 days for free down in my description of my video here on social media, on YouTube or my social media platform. Click the link. If you do not know how to do a profit taking plan, we teach you. We got your back. Okay. You can do it 30 days for free. Try it before you buy it. And if you don't like it, you can just shut it down. And we go here, we have customer service to help you out. Okay. So again, every single back end of the video, I share with you exactly what I'm doing. As I share with you Capital DR, I create cash flow. I create a cash generating businesses. The last bull run, we have 6 companies, 3 are in profit. When I get income from those businesses, it is your debt. My debt is your income. Your income is my debt. There's no real money in the system. So I use cash flow quadrant. I take the income, and first thing I do is I take 10% of the income. I put it into cash generating dividends. That creates more income, right? That income comes in. So we got income. I turn it into, we can call it cash flow. We take the cash flow, I put it into A, which is assets. Okay. You have to pick which assets you believe are going to beat inflation, because the fact is your financial advisor is getting you 6 to 8%. You're not even treading water. You're not even treading water. Inflation is not 3% every single year, guys. If you're making 6 to 8%, you're not even beating the hurdle rate. You're not even beating inflation. So if you go to retire and you're pulling into cash to live, you're getting poor every single year at 2 to 3% inflation. Your dollar loses half of its value every 35 years. That's 35 years at a company. So you're exiting out into dollars. You're getting taxed on the back end of your 401k. You're getting taxed and your dollar is worth less. You worked your ass off for 35 to 40 years to actually be poor. That makes 0 sense. So then that goes into protection. I use cash value life insurance, and then it leads into L. Wealthy people use leverage to buy assets that make them wealthier. The working class and the working poor use debt to make themselves poor. They take income, okay, which is someone else's debt. They take their income, they go get a car that's a liability that's going down in value, okay, and they pay interest on. So you're just getting poor every single year. You're borrowing against your future self. And each year, if you don't get a 6 to 8% raise, you actually lose money. So if your job doesn't give you about a 6 to 8% raise, you become poor every single year as you're extending a 72-month auto loan, right? Then you flip that car again. And so cars are getting more expensive. Your dollar's going down. You're never going to catch up unless you learn how to beat inflation. We don't need stimulus checks. We need financial literacy. We need to understand how to get out of the hole. Imagine yourself in a hole. You put debt in a backpack, that's a rock. The government is throwing inflation on top of you. They're burying you. You have to learn how to beat this. The first thing you have to do is create cash flow. It might be creating a budget. You might go, if you have 2 cars in your parking lot, get rid of one. Free up $600 to $700 and put that into an asset that grows over time. And lastly, you got to be patient, man. You got to get out of price predictions and hopium. That's not how Warren Buffett, Ray Dalio, Kathy Woods, Charlie Munger, God rest his soul, all these amazing investors. There's so many great books out there you can read. Intelligent Investor, okay, Richest Man in Babylon, Think and Grow Rich. There's so many books you can read out there that really will help you take a deep breath. But at some point, XRP is going to fly, guys. I don't know if it's tomorrow. I don't know if it's January. I don't know if it's February. But I'll tell you what, in 2020, When everybody ran from XRP, I went all in. And when Trump got elected, it was life-changing. I've been accumulating in the red and I kept buying it every single day, bought the dip every single day. And I still do the same exact thing. And I'm going to start buying more. Starting today, I'm going to start buying more. I buy it every day and I buy it every dip. And I'm going to start buying more every dip because I'm getting more convicted and more convicted and more convicted. So just to leave you guys on my top assets, because I'm never going to gatekeep from you, XRP is number one by a long shot, company and professional and personally. Number two is Bitcoin, okay, company and personally. Number three is WLFI. Okay, that's personally, not my company. I'm trying to get the treasury to do the same thing, WLFI. Next is Solana. Okay, next is, I always mix up HBAR and XLM. So HBAR and XLM kind of jump back and forth. So XLM, HBAR, and then VeChain. That's my top 7 on the crypto side. I have many other cryptos, but those are my top 7. My 2 by a long shot are XRP and Bitcoin, just to be transparent. I think it's 43% XRP, 40% Bitcoin, and then the percentages go down from there, okay, to kind of give you a percentage allocation. And then we go into stock side. I just got bullish on about a couple months ago, I think, ABTC, American Bitcoin, and XXI. One's a Bitcoin treasury and mining. The other one's a Bitcoin treasury. Jack Mahler says it's more than a Bitcoin treasury. He said he'll prove it to us. So I have the picks and shovels, okay, mining, Bitcoin treasury. I own the gold Bitcoin. I own the Rails XRP, which is a financial Rails. I own WFI, the new DeFi decentralized platform. I own Solana, which is a layer 1. So I have each corner of the new financial system, in my opinion. Now I'm putting my neck out there. This is my arena, the financial arena. I may not win some of these, but that's okay. But I'm not spread out. I'm not chasing hype. I'm not chasing price predictions. I'm convicted in what I'm invested in. Okay. From there, I have about 30% of my wealth is insured. Nobody can touch it. That's my empire. And then I use that as leverage in family banks. On top of that, I have the infrastructure set up with a trust, right? I have my income side that goes into my trust that are set up with an S Corp, LLCs, all that set up. We have our pre-taxed, our tax deferment, tax-free bucket. And then we have our LLCs for digital assets. And then we have everything goes into the trust. So we have a trust that protects all of that. It's called an ecosystem. We have an amazing team that we work with that helps us with all that stuff. So that's what I got going on. You know, I was just a dude that started a YouTube channel back in, 2017. I've been doing this. I left corporate America, was a vertical guy. I was like, I just had crypto and a job, a company. I call it a job. I was on the wrong side of the cash flow quadrant. I had a business. I was working 19 hours a day, stuck in the system, and finally woke up in the pandemic. I'm like, well, this is bullshit. The 1% remain the 1%. Let me study what the 1% are doing. They have systems, they have processes, they have structure. They don't chase hype. They don't chase hopium. They get into an investment and they can watch paint dry. So I built Capital DR at a very small level. I became a millionaire entrepreneur. I became a multimillionaire in my life. And now I'm making other people millionaires. And that's how winning is done. The more people that can eat because of what you've done and the ecosystems you create, the better off you're going to be. That's how winning is done. But I'll tell you what, the people that have won with me are not chasing hype. They're disciplined spiritually, physically, and financially. Okay? So I hope this information reaches your heart well. I love you guys. If you made it this far, comment warrior, just to let me know that you made it. I love you guys. Warriors! Rise! Get your shit together. Let's go.